Koutou, ke te whakarongo mai koutou ki Arrow FM, your community access radio station. E whai ake nei, Isolation Blues, the last one, that's right. Because, as I say, I'm not isolated anymore. We're going to have our program makers coming back one at a time to begin with, because those are the rules under level 2. We don't want to crowd this confined space with a whole bunch of people. We've got our hand sanitizers and stuff, and look, this is for wiping down surfaces. We've got spray and wipe, and we're all ready to greet the influx, which will be great. Great news in yesterday's budget. What a budget. What a difficult budget that must have been to put together. The government has to address the massive impact the COVID-19 virus has had on our society. But you have to say, they've been managing it so well that the impact is perhaps not as extreme as it has been in other countries. Let's hope that as we move into level 2, well, we're there now, that we don't slip backwards. So it's up to you people to remember that it's not all about congregating again in massive groups of people and hugging and sharing utensils and all the rest of that. We've still got to be careful. We can do this. No new cases again yesterday. I'm not sure what the deal is today, but we'll find out. Anyway, Jane Ross will be calling me in a few moments. In fact, she should be doing that right now, and she'll be speaking on behalf of Whaiora Whanui about what to do now, what are the issues, what are the health matters, how they can help as an organisation. And as I frequently do during this program, I might just get my phone out and see if she's there, see what's happening. Because she's not appeared here, has she? Oh, hang on. I'll tell you what I'll do, though. I'll put my headphones on, just in case. Nah, it's still just me. That's all right. As I say, this is my last Isolation Blues. And I will revert to doing RAM, Random Access Memory, every Thursday at 9 o'clock, during which I'll try and give you as much information as I can find about what's happening in our region, because there will be things happening. People will be able to go to stuff with a degree of caution, but they still will be able to get out there and go to the odd event. Now, I'm just going to talk quietly amongst yourselves while I see if I can contact Jane and see what's happened. Yeah, this will be fun. There's always the possibility that she's forgotten. This is me calling Jane on the telephone. It's ringing.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, is the video thing not working for you?
Oh, sorry. I'm running. Oh, gosh, I was going to be better and not leave you hanging. No, I'm about to log in right now.
All right.
Bear with.
Okay.
Have you got a song playing?
No. You're chatting on the radio even as we speak. But look, I'll turn you off and you get me on the video link.
I certainly will.
All right.
I should be with you.
Yeah.
Swift.
Good. What was that word? Hensworth. That's kind of like forthwith, but different. All right. So Jane will be talking with us in a moment. Where was I? Was I anywhere? Only you can be the judges of that. This is Isolation Blues. Call Michael Tierney, and I'm hoping that Jane will be with us any second. You don't want to start a new topic of conversation, do you? Because then you'll just get interrupted, you lose your train of thought, and it was all a bit pointless. This has been fun. I've enjoyed being with you every weekday morning and making lots of mistakes and trialing things. The thing is, the technology that we're trialing now is kind of betwixt and between. And once we get our new cameras in, thanks to a grant from the Trust House Foundation, so thank you very much for that, Trust House, then everything will be able to happen. We'll be able to have video call-ins, we'll be able to play music. It'll be the best of both worlds. But meanwhile, it's been a little bit like sometimes I've been a little uncertain of what might be going on. And
Oh,
it's better
here we
that I
go.
look like a dick than than our program makers. And ko Jane, tēnā, there you are. Great to have you with us.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Good morning, Morena Michael. Thank you. Yes, I'm trying to match that beautiful blue sky day that I can see out my window right now.
Oh, right. I cycled through it, but I get so... I'm not sure if I noticed what the weather was like. I just thought, got to get to work. Anyway, here I am.
Aye. Well, I can tell you that we're going to actually have a lovely day of blue sky and sunshine. It's going to be great. So if getting outside amongst it is one of those things that can boost your well-being, today's a wonderful day to be out there connecting with nature and connecting with people. And just doing the things that actually boost your well-being. I highly recommend that as we make our way through to the weekend and as we transition through level 2 as well, Michael.
Yeah, it has been instructive this period in reminding us that getting out there amongst nature and enjoying simple pleasures can be really gratifying and good for your health, good for your mental health and good for your physical health too.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. So our vision for Whaiora is Wairarapa Here Waiora, Wairarapa, a place of wellness. So we have that at the centre of our thoughts and consciousness when we go about our day-to-day work. And certainly in my role as the communications and marketing coordinator, it is what I'm always thinking about when I'm creating any kind of communication that I want to share with our community. So yes, I thought what a lovely way to start the day with, the show with you today, Michael, because correct me if I'm wrong, is this the last episode of Isolation Blues?
It is indeed. There is no point in pretending to be isolated anymore. We're going to, program makers will start filtering in now in a cautious way. As I said before, we will be limiting them to one at a time. And, got our old hand sanitizer and got various, we've got a level 2 plan and we'll be sticking notices all over the place and just advising people how to keep safe. Even though it feels like, it's not like all bets are off. We've still got to be careful.
Yeah, and that is a very clear message that I want to reiterate too. The advice is to still think like we're in level 3 as we're transitioning in these early days, and to be very careful with maintaining social distancing and maintaining our hand washing and, our hygiene around keeping surfaces that we're in contact with sanitized, and, just being mindful of the things that we can do to protect ourselves from any virus and from any germ. But, particularly right now as things are getting busier and we're becoming a lot more social, we've got to really keep that in the forefront of our minds and thoughts and hearts and consciousness around how can we keep ourselves and everyone else well. And so I thought I'd share some more of those sorts of wellness tips with you today, Michael. But as I do this, I've got to say I feel honoured to have done Isolation Blues with you for the last 7 weeks. We did the first broadcast together. And I feel fitting that we're doing the last. Yeah.
And you've been our most consistent guest. You've been with us most weeks, really, haven't you? All weeks? I think we have.
All
Yes.
weeks but one. There was one week where
Right.
I got to have a bit of a reflection because I was so busy anyway with the lockdown film
Mm.
festival. So it was a relief, and because that was excitingly busy, and I've done a lot of reflecting in the last 7 weeks as well, and I've thought about my well-being with being at home and being in lockdown, and I've thought about all the things that are good for me and the people around me. And of course, film is one of those things that really lights my fires.
Yeah.
And to actually be able to talk about film through Arrow FM, that's been really wonderful. And it's been also just joyous to be in conversation with the filmmakers that dedicated their time to come up with some really cracking film and New Zealand screen content. And with it being New Zealand Music Month, I've been thinking a lot about music videos as well and the
Yeah.
recommendations that those filmmakers gave. I've been also reading this. A Sharp Left Turn by your friend and mine, Mike Chung. I just love this guy. This has been an
Right.
excellent
Yes.
read. Yeah.
That's right.
Now,
And
you
it's
are
not
a
just
friend.
about the music industry, is it? It's to do with
No.
mental illness, etc. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
surprising that a musician who travelled extensively was crippled by agoraphobia. And it took a
Mm.
long time for him to actually realise that it was actually leaving Auckland that actually caused quite a lot of distress for him for a very, very long time. Once he understood what he was actually grappling with, that was the beginnings of him being able to navigate it in a better way, better place to deal with
And
it.
he has
But God,
navigated it. It's not just been that he had to severely curtail the activities in his life because he went on
mm,
to do fabulous things, including what's it called? Play It Strange. Is that
yes,
the
yeah, it
video
is.
and music making thing that he's done for school kids?
Yes, it's
And
a
of course,
wonderful
didn't
program.
yeah? I was just
Yeah, what
thinking
were you
Citizen
saying,
Band
Michael?
too. Yeah, no,
Yes.
he's done great work.
He has, and the Aotea Arts Foundation has been supporting creative people to create content to share on their webpage. And Mike Chung's actually been busting out some covers of some old Citizen Band songs with different musicians throughout the lockdown, and that's been wonderful to see. Um,
Mm.
yeah, check out the Facebook and website for Play It Strange. I think it's a wonderful mentoring program to encourage, in particular, rangatahi, our youth into writing and performing and recording their very own songs and music and music videos. And how exciting is that to be mentored through that process? And they also they have live performances of the people that have gone through the program. I can remember seeing them on Seven Sharp last year, for example, actually playing out the show, which is great. It's May is Music Month. I always get really excited about Music Month here, and a
Yeah.
huge fan of his work, and just a really wonderful man. I went along to listen to him talk as part of the Kokomai Festival here last year. He was at Aratoi. And I got chatting with him. We're both Geminis, so we connected over that. And he called me the front row girl because I just walked right in and sat there and just looked at him in awe. And he was like, "You're the front row girl," which
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Well, a great
So
role model for anybody who feels that dealing with a mental health issue is somehow constraining to your life. Of course, in many cases, it may well be. We can't pretend otherwise, but nonetheless, it is possible to contribute to society and move beyond that particular problem.
Yeah, and I think his book is a really very good read for talking about the steps that you can take to get help for yourself, to be self managing, and to live the best life that you can. That's called A Sharp Left Turn by Mike Chung. Yeah, one of the things I've
Great.
been reading throughout time.
And
So
now on to
moving
your
on, I guess.
tips.
Yeah, well, I guess that was a tip in itself, is to
Yeah.
identify the things that give you joy and the things that I guess partly define who you are as a person. We all know those things. Like for me, definitely it's film, and it's also definitely music. And I've done a lot of looking at old music videos and pasting them on my Facebook page. There's some crackers I put on yesterday, Michael. You'll have to have a look. I've
Yes,
got I've got Morrissey.
seen them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Heaven knows I'm miserable now. Gosh, what a music video that was. So, other than that, I'm going to talk about all the things that we could be doing to boost our immunity against colds and flu and viruses. So I'm going to carry on with that kōrero today. Let's kick off with eating well. So, one of the best things that you can actually do to boost your immunity is eat seasonally and to have a variety of fruit and vegetables into your diet. And certainly there were television shows that were created and broadcast throughout the last 7 weeks that specifically looked at how you can eat well while being in isolation. One of them was the Jamie Oliver TV show. I think it was called something like Stay Calm and Keep Cooking. And you
Yeah.
can find those episodes on TVNZ on demand if you're able to access the internet at home. Have a look at those. He came up with some really, really good tips about how to use the staples in your cupboard and maybe some more interesting and creative ways, because Jamie Oliver is all about the herbs and the creativity. And some really good ideas around some really wholesome and hearty soups and stews and curries. And as we move into the colder weather, those are the sorts of comfort winter wellness foods that are really good to add to our diets. And they do use a lot of vegetables as well. And, whole foods and fruits and vegetables are really, really great for boosting our immunity. What's your go-to during the colder months?
You mean to eat? Yeah, I am
Yeah.
a bit of a comfort food person because I come from Lancashire, up north in England, and
Yeah.
we do like to fill ourselves with very comforting and heavy food. So I love lamb shanks. I like slow cooked. Um, Often, my mother was. I tell you what, my mum was a good Depression era cook. She could get hold of cuts of meat
Okay.
that were very inexpensive and turn them into something edible. Whereas the thing that made my heart drop was when she would say, as a special treat tonight, we're having steak, fillet steak or something, because my mother could ruin the best cuts of meat
Surely
because she
not.
didn't. All she knew was to cook the hell out of things forever, and you don't want to do that with really good cuts of steak. So, but I've got a bit of that Lancashire thing about me, and I do like hearty food, and I do like those kind of. When it comes to sweet stuff, my favourite things are fruit cakes and things like that. Great, chunky, rich things. Probably not the healthiest things for me to eat. But look, I try to limit all that. Don't have a huge
Yeah.
amount of
Everything in
sweet
balance.
food. But every so often you got to go, oh, yeah, you know what? I could go a donut with mock cream.
Oh yeah.
Give me
Yeah.
mock cream ahead of real cream any day. I love it. So these are not good health tips, but generally I have found this period very good as an encouragement to, you mentioned using seasonal foods. Yeah, getting
Yeah.
what's available in the garden right now. And if when the tomatoes run out, instead of going straight to the supermarket and getting some hothouse ones or some that have been sent from another country, I go, hey, that's the end of the tomato season. So I'm quite enjoying that.
Yeah, and that's a good tip as well, because once things are out of season, food does need to be imported, and it's more expensive. And because it's travelled, in transition and over time, it loses its taste. So another really good tip is to eat in season. And right now we've got feijoas, for example, falling from our tree. We've got the last of the figs. So I'm always Googling recipes about looking for new ideas of what I can do, and also healthy alternatives as well. So rather than just have a normal crumble with loads of white flour and loads of butter, as great as that sounds right now, I would be looking at, say, having some ground almonds and, like a splash of syrup. So it's mixing things up and looking at how things can be made healthier. Now, a really great website, a New Zealand-based website, is the Heart Foundation. If you go to heartfoundation.org.nz, they have hundreds of recipes, and they've actually gone through some of our really traditional staples that might not be cooked in the most healthiest way from what we used to, and adapted them and presented them in new, healthier ways. And they even give you the breakdown of, the fat content or the salt content or the sugar content. So if you've got a long-term condition that you're managing, maybe diabetes, for example, you need to be mindful of the sugar content. So all of that information has actually been worked out for you. Diabetes.org.nz does the same thing. They've just this week on their Facebook page put a really lovely recipe for a beef and pumpkin curry. So check that one out too. They've gone through the processes of making this food healthy and tasty for us. They've got wonderful nutritionists on their teams that do these things. Another really great nutritionist that created television content throughout our isolation period was Nadia Lim. She was in isolation with
some.
Yeah, wonderful ideas. She was broadcasting, and they're still available to view on TVNZ on demand. But that was all about seasonal eating with what you have, what you can access, and also just budget staples as well. And her husband is a camera operator, so between her and her kitchen in Wanaka, I think it was, somewhere in central Otago, they just knocked out a series in record time to make sure that it was benefiting people throughout the isolation period. And I mentioned last week the local version of Eat Well for Less. That's also going through the processes of showing individual families each week, an individual family, Michael Van der Elze and another man whose name I've forgotten right now, the co-host, they work through the processes of shopping and cooking in a budget conscious but also very much a health conscious way. So check out Jamie Oliver, Nadia Lim, Eat Well for Less, all on TVNZ on demand. Diabetes website, the Heart Foundation website, and also a really great charity that I get a lot of resources for our clients at Whaiora. It's called 5 a Day. And it's a really good New Zealand charity that advocates for the 5 fruit and vegetables into your diet each day. And they do a lot of great work in the community with supplying fruit and vegetable boxes to our schools to give out to students throughout the terms. And for example, I know one of the local schools here, they create hot soups in winter based on the boxes that they get given from 5 a Day. And they have wonderful recipes for cooking in season and lots of, ways of doing things a little bit differently too. So definitely check out the 5+ a Day website.
That's a great service. I also think, I began my schooling in England where every day we had a midday meal that was cooked by staff at the school. Now, when we look at how it's been necessary in this country to occasionally provide breakfasts and things for children who are not getting that at home, if we made it across the board so that we're not, identifying people who need it and just say, school lunch will be provided. I just think it will be a great thing. That way, you know that you've got the attention of your students because they're not hungry. Because that's one of the issues for schools, is that the kids, all they're thinking about is food because they're so hungry. So it just becomes a normal part of your school day. I'd love to see that instigated here.
Yeah, I would too. I taught in London schools for about 3.5 years, and school dinners weren't great. This was before all the reform that was made with the help of our friend Jamie Oliver.
Yeah, Jamie Oliver again. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, he did wonderful things. I taught in the 90s, from 95 to 98. And at that time, school dinners were lots of processed chips and unidentified turkey Twizzlers that had no turkey in them, and a lot of baked beans that was seen as your 5+ a day. So wonderful things have happened since Jamie Oliver actually started a bit of a revolution. So I feel Jamie's part of my personal story because I was living and working in London when he emerged as the naked chef, and I've kind of just stuck with Jamie as if he's an old extended family friend all over the years. I've always been interested in what he's going to do next, and enormously proud of and in awe of what he did to revolutionise the school dinner system. So yeah, I'm in favour of that as well, Michael, and I think it's great, if we can even have children in schools learning about where food comes from and how to grow food, and actually starting a new generation of people who have their own gardens, vegetable gardens and fruit trees at home. Wouldn't that be great? That's a lovely vision for the Wairarapa and beyond.
Yeah, I think many schools actually do have garden plots within the schools themselves, and kids are learning about growing vegetables and things. And these are things, they're necessary parts of your education. If those get missed out, you are not prepared for life. It's not all about the reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's my phone. You keep talking. I will just. I'll have to.
You're just.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think also it's really important to learn about the health and nutrition benefits of different kinds of food. For example, citrus is really, really great and in season at the moment for giving boosts for your vitamin C. And if we're looking at putting our best foot forward when we go out again into the community and begin socialising beyond our bubbles, we really want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to boost our immunity. And by that I mean protecting ourselves from any colds and any flus and any viruses that might be circulating. So I really recommend checking out the Heart Foundation website, just for the recipes to know what's in season. 5+ a day website as well. Wonderful information about how to live well and eat well in season in New Zealand in particular. And the diabetes website as well. Just if you're looking at ways to lower sugar and salt, really, really good ideas there too. And balanced food as well. So I guess after my advice about connecting with nature and connecting with people, tangata and whenua is boosting our well-being. And now I'm talking about boosting immunity. After Eat Well, I'd actually really recommend to sleep well. And although apparently that's a really easy thing to do, it's something I personally struggle with. I'm a bit of a night owl, so I have read a lot about this though, and I understand from personal experience that if you can get as an adult at least 7 to 8 hours of restorative sleep every night, that can also go towards putting you in the best position to be immune to any colds, flus and viruses that are going around. So if you if you pick a routine, so you basically say, this is the time, a ballpark time that I'm going to get up every day and go to bed every day. And if you try as best to stick with that routine, your body actually starts to get into a really natural cycle of knowing this is the time I wake up and this is the time that I sleep. And to add to good sleep is to exercise and to get some fresh air during the day and to be moving during the day. It actually helps us to sleep and to sleep well and to get a really nice restorative sleep as well. Are you a good sleeper, Michael? Yeah. Yeah, you look like...
I tell you what, well, once you've had children and they wake you up heaps during the night, then that becomes a habit. And then your children go off and live somewhere else and you still get up in the middle of the night. It just happens. I cannot break that. I get up at least once a night. Yeah. So, yeah, I could do with sleeping better.
Yeah, well, the recommendations is to try and get exercise during the day. You do that. And the other big recommendation is to try and avoid blue light emissions. So that's from devices. Yeah, at least an hour before bedtime, knock off the blue light. When I read that, I was thinking blue light discos, because that's part of my story. But no, we're talking about the blue light emissions that come from our phones and from our computers. Apparently, that does mess with our circadian rhythms, and best to avoid it for the hour leading up to bed and to sleep.
Yeah. It suppresses the melatonin too, I think, and that's needed for a good night's sleep.
Yeah. And then with that exercising during the day, of course, right throughout the whole isolation period and now beyond into level 2, we've all been encouraged to walk and cycle or run. Now, all of those forms of activity do wonders to boost our immunity and give us those viral defense systems as well. So certainly if you've gotten into a routine throughout this time, I mean, I have, of doing daily walks. I know you cycle every day too, Michael. Let's keep that going, because that will put our best foot forward with staying well throughout this time, through the last of autumn and through winter and beyond. These are all things that we can do to actually keep ourselves well, to live well and stay well. I guess being outside has that added benefit as well of, like I was walking with my mum last night and we were just loving the sky, but also all the native bird song that we've been hearing as we go out. All of that's really quite uplifting. And I hope it doesn't disappear, because I've really, really loved the stillness of the night time, to be able to actually really appreciate the sounds of nature. And
yes, likewise. We've enjoyed the tui at the back of our place. Luckily, I don't think traffic is going to scare that one away, because it's round the back, and we've got a flax bush that we planted on the other side of the stream at the back of our place. So there's the harakeke, and there's the tui, providing so much enjoyment for us during the daytime.
Oh, yeah, we've got a tui that lives here as well, and we often do, because we have kowhai, and they just seem to like the native trees that we have around here. We've deliberately planted them, and we've had so many fantails. Yeah, really lovely cheeky fantails. They swoop down very close. I put out my hand and they almost land in them some days, but yeah, no, it's just been lovely. And long may that continue as well. Now, with eating well and sleeping well and exercising well, all of those things are great and are going to help us to boost our immunity. But even the healthiest, most rested people still can get sick. So if you find that you're starting to get sniffles, the best way to keep bugs, to stop them at the door, is to keep up the hand washing and the hygiene. And I talked a bit about that last week, the good lathering of soap, and at least for 20 seconds, sing the happy birthday song twice, and you'll know that you've done your lathering for a good 20 seconds. And the care of the hands as well after that, because it is really drying on our skin, and with all the cracks and dryness and hardness that can happen, it's just really important to be nourishing our skin at this time of year. But also wind and cold air in itself is really, really drying. So yeah, you still got a plaster on your thumb. How are your cracks on your hands? Mine are
Yeah, but
slowly.
I've got a different one.
Oh,
That one's fine now. Oh, it's still a bit, but I cut myself preparing vegetables last night. No, the night before, and it was a really big one. I'm
oh,
very accident prone, or otherwise known as clumsy. And we've got good sharp knives because I like to keep them sharp for my cooking. But
yeah.
occasionally, I am the victim of that.
You fall victim to your own utensils.
Yes, good way of
Well,
putting it.
something to be mindful of. Yeah. I think my last tip again, and I talked about this last week as well, but because this is World Smoke Free Month leading up to World Smoke Free Day on the 31st of May, I'll end with that, because one of the best things that anyone can do for their health and for the health of their whānau around them is to quit smoking. And here in the Wairarapa, we have an outstanding service, the Wairarapa Stop Smoking Service, which is actually based at Whaiora. We've
Mm.
got two outstanding stop smoking coaches that really know their stuff, and they're fabulous people, and they really just are inspired by the families and the people and their success stories, and nothing better than actually supporting someone on a smoke-free journey, because of the health, the benefits, the financial gains to be made, but also just that sheer achievement of knowing that you're doing the best thing possible for your health and for those around you as well. So when we talk about celebrating smoke-free environments, I'm talking about people's homes, cars, restaurants, cafes, playgrounds, public places, schools, and really the theme for this year is to celebrate. It's celebrating being smoke free. So I've been working with the quick coaches at Whaiora, and with some of our local heroes. And by that, I mean, people that have gone through the quit smoking program and have successfully quit and remained smoke free. So we'll be telling
Yeah.
some of those success stories coming up as part of our local celebration for World Smoke Free Day. So keep an eye out in the Wairarapa midweek. We'll have a special feature published on the 27th of May. And as I say, we'll be sharing some stories of people's journey to be smoke free, and what motivated them and how they got through it. There are always challenges in a journey, but with the support in place, you can overcome those challenges and be self-managing with it. So if that's inspired anybody, please check out the Whaiora website. You'll find information there about the Wairarapa Stop Smoking Service and the different incentivised programs and what we can offer. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Jane, wonderful set of tips. It's been fabulous having you as a guest every week since this began.
Yeah.
And what I'd really like to encourage is for you to get your own program and turn up here at Arrow FM and become a friend and program maker in the flesh. We'd love to have that, whether it's Whaiora or your films, or both perhaps.
Right. Well, thank you, Michael. I am looking for a sponsor. So if anyone has, if you like what you've seen, please do get in contact. I'm open for sponsorship offers. I would love that, and that kind of support from the community would be really welcomed. So love to hear from anyone about that.
Thank you, Jane. We'll be hearing from you and seeing you again very soon.
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Michael. I've really enjoyed chatting with you and co-hosting the show. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for keeping the Isolation Blues broadcast happening Monday to Friday throughout the last 7+ weeks. It's been cool, and the gang, it really has. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thanks,
All
Jane.
right. You have
Bye-bye.
a great day. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Well, that's Jane again, and I really do hope that she gets her own program. I'm fairly certain she will. Ramil will be doing his program in a short while at 10:30, so I'm going to get off air because I'm dying for a cup of coffee. Talk to you later.